All right, and hope you're doing okay. We'll be back from the break. Let's get into our topic of discussion. I did mention that today's topic is mainly driven around branding and branding of your business. Sometimes you get to realize how you sell out your brand identifies you as a business owner or says a lot about what you're selling, or as an individual it actually represents more than what you'll expect, because sometimes if you want to at least get in touch with people, in most cases you will realize most of them only get attached to a bigger brand, and the more you grow as a brand, the more your business is growing. But how then do you protect your brand from various situations that may occur in business? Those are some of the things that we will definitely try to understand in today's topic of discussion. But of course, joining me on set to discuss more and bigger perspectives of branding in the business world, I do have the CEO, Bravo Shoes Uganda. This is Mr. Yesinje Brian, who is with us in studio this morning to take us through the emphasis of branding and how important it is. Many thanks for joining us this morning.
Welcome, thank you. It's my pleasure being here.
Okay. All right. And speaking of the branding, one may still want to understand. We've been telling people branding is just like a cover page for you as an individual, just like when you cover your book. But from the business world perspectives and all that, how would one identify branding, and how can a business person attach themselves to a brand?
Yes, thank you so much. It's a very interesting topic, most especially to those entrepreneurs
Okay.
that would like to live longer in business. I always use the word entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs have bigger vision in whatever they're doing. And to set that vision, you need to consider certain things, most especially for the successful businesses. This is something that us as Africans, I would call it Africans, not Ugandans, all over Africa, we've run into the system of running to look for business all the time.
Okay.
And we've not had, the power of branding. That a branding sets standards for businesses or products. Of course, individuals would say you have to brand yourself. If you're an employee, you're branding yourself. Every person has what we call a brand. Now, when we come into our businesses, to call yourself a brand, I know there are so many viewers out there who would say, yes, my brand is so and so. Maybe my brand is called Pam. My husband is Patrick, and Margaret. It's Pam.
Okay.
It's a brand. Yes, people know you. You're Patrick. Your wife is Margaret. You came together and made a brand. Everybody knows you.
Okay.
Or maybe you say, my brand is whatever name you can call, and say, Peter is my son, Angela is my daughter, Margaret is also my daughter.
Okay.
It's Pam. It's a brand. But that cannot confirm that you're a brand unless you do certain things. What do we mean? You can call yourself anything. We are called Bravo Shoes. But what confirms you that that's your brand?
Okay.
And how do you take yourself out of the rest? Because there's no business that you do that people have never done.
Very true.
There's no unique business that you're doing. But how we garnish ourselves is what takes us off the rest. Okay? And these are some of the things that we consider. If you're talking about a brand, you must have what we call, be protected by the intellectual property. The intellectual property means that this brand, you have registered your brand as a trademark.
Okay.
Unless you register your brand as a trademark, it becomes difficult for you to own it. Okay? Now, a trademark certificate is a title that is given. Let's talk about URSB. People register companies, and then there's a department at URSB, Uganda Registrar Services Bureau, that gives you this certificate of ownership. People would call it in Uganda a chapa. Okay? That's a title to confirm that your title that this brand, this trademark belongs to so and so. Yes, we've seen many people. I've encountered so many people. Someone told me, no, I'm registered with URSB. I'm going to use an example of PAM, and someone says, no, PAM Company Limited. I am fully registered as PAM Company Limited under the registry of companies. So I'm protected.
Okay.
Yes, I will tell you yes. Being registered as a company
Alright.
and being registered as a trademark, they are two different things.
So the other trademark is simply speaking more about your brand. If
Yes,
I may
to
ask.
be a full brand, you must be registered under the intellectual property, laws and everything.
Okay.
So that you're protected, that you own that brand name, PAM. This is PAM, who is registered as PAM Limited or PAM Uganda Limited. Okay? But now me, I come and say, PAM, I am a trademark. I trademarked PAM. So you own a company, but you don't own a trademark.
Alright.
Yes, when we come in to say, when we're advertising our businesses, you are allowed to use, because you're registered as a company, as PAM Uganda Limited. That should be your sign post. Me, who has registered PAM, I will come up and take you over and say, you cannot advertise your business as PAM
Okay.
because you're not a registered trademark.
It is you who got the rightful.
Yes.
Okay.
To use it as my advertising brand,
Okay.
because I own it. So I will silence you. So many people, if you look at what they're doing, they're registered. If you look at the packagings they're making on their bottles, on their crisps, on their bread, on everything, majority of them are not registered trademarks.
Speaking of registering trademarks and speaking of intellectual property, if I am a business person who's
Yes.
just starting up, I only have a business that is 1-2 years
Yeah.
old, and I want to list up into that
Yes.
and at least get a registered
Yeah.
trademark
Yeah.
in any way. Where should I go to, and which procedures am I supposed to pass through?
The procedures are not difficult. It's that URSB as well.
Okay.
So when you go to URSB, you ask, I'm registering my company, but I would want to have my trademark also registered.
Which shows ownership of
Which
your name.
shows ownership.
Okay.
If I go back to the brand Bravo Shoes, we are a registered trademark that nobody can tamper with our trademark in this country, whatever we're registered, because it's a trademark.
That is already.
Yes. When you look at our logo, I don't know whether the producer can give us our logo if he has our logo, Bravo. Whenever you see all logos or any logo he can give us, any logo, at the end of the logo, you will see a letter R encircled. Okay? That R encircled means that this is a registered trademark. It's a warning to you that it's a registered trademark. So you will not tamper with it. Legally, they will take you off. The others will have TM. I know viewers, anybody who is at home there, you can look at anything that you have in your house, maybe a bottle, anything that you feel is a brand. Just look at it. At the end, when you see one that has an R encircled, that means that's a registered trademark. Another will have TM. Now, TM means a trademark. So those small letters you see mean a lot. Okay? If you go on SMART24 logo, I believe at the end you will find that there's an R or there's a TM. Or the British would use the R, the USA would use the TM. So those are warnings that in case you tamper
with
with
my brand.
yes, legally they will take over you. And I will tell viewers that the most efficient police that we have in this country is the police under the intellectual property.
Because you know what?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of competition, or
Yes.
they want to prevent.
No,
fraud.
if I have a problem, for example, with Bravo Shoes, I just go on my email, write to the Registrar General that somebody is infringing on my brand, somebody is doing this, and police will pick it up. Because at the registry, there's police that is supposed to handle that. And they will swing in action because you're fully protected. They will swing in action. Should you have produced a lot of things, I will take over and I will silence you in business. Not that I hate you, but because the intellectual property has protected me. So, it's a mistake so many people are doing. And for them, they say, no, everybody on the village knows that it is me who has this name. Yes, knowing you and legally owning it is totally
different.
different.
let's look at the basics of branding.
Yeah.
Because once you're starting a shop, or let's say I'm starting my simple business,
Yes.
you'll at least want people to identify you
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the basics of the business, is there a way your brand has to represent your visions, your objectives,
Yes,
or what
yes.
you intend
Definitely.
to execute to the customers?
You see, a brand is, anybody who owns a brand is so passionate about what they're doing. I'll tell you Bravo. Bravo is my third name. It's where Bravo shoes came from.
Okay.
Now, there are so many values attached to the brand. And why I chose Bravo shoes. Now, when you're speaking in line of brands, we are so passionate about them that you cannot tamper, because you're tampering with my own asset. That's an asset somebody put up, okay?
True.
It's not just a name. Now, it goes a lot, because even displaying the behaviors, everything you start behaving in respect to the brands. That's why when you make a mistake in somebody's brand, if you're an employee or anyone, they will choose to eliminate you or to take you out because you have tainted the image of the brand, okay? So the brand speaks a lot of us, you know, the entrepreneurs. I know some people would say, but that's expensive, how would I do it? Any entrepreneur that has a bigger vision will not start their business unless they have trademarked themselves. It's a title that even when somebody is going to value your business, they already know that you're trademarked. This is why you see many brands that talk about the TikToks and the FB, the Facebook and everything. These are brands. When the world is buying, they are not buying the business, they are buying the brands. I can buy your brand when I don't like your business, but the brand, I will transform the business when I'm going with the brand name. So brands have lived longer, and they even give you more value in your business. Even when you are to get a business partner,
Okay.
they see that you're already brand.
But how
Means-
about in case scenarios whereby you come and buy my brand and people have already associated to this brand to be a dealer, for example, Bravo Shoes
Yes.
is only known to be a dealer. Okay, people associated to shoes.
Yes.
And then I come and I buy the brand simply because it is sounding,
Yeah.
and I take it into another set of business. Won't it confuse people?
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. When you're buying into a brand,
Okay.
you're definitely going to do the same to expand it.
Okay.
If you're buying Nokia, you cannot pull Nokia into selling shoes. It's a phone brand. So here we're looking at people buying the brand
Okay.
and continuing with what the brand is all about.
And then expanding even more.
Expanding and put more things into it,
Okay.
but remaining on the same vision.
All
Okay?
right.
So the brand will always be looked at as something to expand. They will expand it and huge and bigger. Yes, somebody can say Bravo shoes is shoes, but they can even divert into other things, but remaining on the same line.
Okay.
Yes.
Speaking of branding, we know branding is an intangible asset, so it's not something you can touch.
Yes.
And if we had to look at the situations of branding, do we have any specific types of branding? And you would say, if I'm, let's say, primary types, a secondary type, that this is the first stage of my branding, then I have the second stage of branding. How would you differentiate the types of branding, if at all we have any?
Brands evolve,
Okay.
okay? But to have a good brand, it must be simple, precise, and communicates well with the audience.
Oh.
Okay? Very, easy. Choosing a name is difficult, but it is simple that how you sell your brand out. If you look at the TikTok, it's just TikTok. Somebody thought a lot to get to that brand. So here, you choose a name. You can make any brand into sound. And how you sell it to the public, how you sell it to the masses, they will acquire it and sound it in their minds all the time. So it depends on how, that sentimental attachment people will have on your brand. And it will sound. There are brands you look at as maybe funny, but because they have sounded very well and what they're involved in, people will easily accept them. So it has to be simple, few characters, but speaks volumes. And then when you do that, it becomes easy for you to sell it out there. Now, when we talk about branding, yes, branding can always evolve. Maybe colors can a little bit change. The logo can change. This is where we have a brand name. Then this is where we have the logo, because the trademarks is a logo or the name. You can choose to have a name. You can try to have a name and the trademark. The logo. So it can be the name and the logo. There are those trademarks that are just names. And there are those trademarks that have logos, okay, encrypted with the name. They go hand in hand. If you look at Bravo shoes, it's a Bravo and a B encircled. That's our logo. So it all depends on how you sell out. But otherwise, brands can evolve. You can go in and keep improving, changing the logo, getting it better, and everything. So once you accept to go through that, it's acceptable. In 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, it can evolve, but you find that it's always into that, but made better and more appealing to the population.
Okay.
Yes, so there are changes.
Okay.
Yes.
It evolves as the business is growing.
Yes, definitely.
Then you have to adapt to the current.
Absolutely, but without forgetting reasons why you started it.
You're not supposed to get off the script.
Yes, off the script. There are those who actually made it. Maybe there's one brand, maybe I will mention, that soon is going to be normal. It's changing.
Okay.
It's completely changing. Soon we are remaining. I may mention it. Facebook. It's soon Facebook is.
It's not
completely,
closing, but it's just.
Yes, it's growing. Now Facebook in the next 1 year or two,
Meta.
you're not going to see F. And today, it's no longer F. For us who do a lot of social media, it's Meta business. That's it. It's Meta business, Metaverse. So they are just remaining to pull out an F off. And through us, they are preparing us for some time to forget the F and accept to the M. Okay? Reasons why they are changing is that along the way, brands can mess up. If you look at it, that brand, it messed up a lot.
Yes,
Facebook messed up a lot in Europe and everywhere. A lot of fines, a lot of money they are paid, and the name was going off. Until now, they have to realize that it's time for us to change. So those are brands that are changing, but they have prepared us, okay?
For that change.
Yes, for the change, and it's taking a lot of time, but the inner systems all have changed. It's just now the day they will say, F is out, and it will be off the market. But by that time, we already know it is Meta.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, if you're just joining in, and if at all you've been part of us as we started, our topic of discussion today is basically looking at branding in business. We're understanding the aspect of branding. How important is branding, and why is it so important for you to set a brand that is quite different from the rest? How can you do that? In fact, after the break, we're going to be looking at the importance of branding and why you should brand yourself, and which ways can you set up a successful brand that is going to help your business grow, because that is the same brand that people are going to associate with. People do not want to associate with something they do not understand. But then how do you set up a brand that people will definitely affiliate to? That and more is what we're going to be discussing after the break. Stick around. I still do have Mr. CJ Bryan, the CEO of Bravo Shoes, as he's taking us through branding in business.